Hi, and welcome back to this tutorial series on live coding with Mercury. In this video we'll have a look at how you can play samples and also how you can play them at different timing intervals. And we'll also look at how you can set the tempo. So to get started, we'll first clear the entire editor. I will make the code a bit bigger so we can see it clearly. So let's start with making our first sound. For this we type new space sample space, and the next argument that we will give is the name of the sound file that we would like to use. As we've seen in the previous video, we can click on the sounds button below to open a page where we can find all the sounds that are available to us. So for example, if I would like to play this kick_909, I can go to the editor and I can type kick_909. So now if I click play, we will hear this kick. It is currently not very loud and it's also not playing very fast. So we can add functions to this sample to change those values. For example, if I would like to play this a bit louder, we can add the gain method. And we do this by typing a gain with an open and closing parentheses. And then between those parentheses we will type a value that will change the volume of the sound. A1 means play the sound at its original volume. A2 means play it twice as loud. And a 0.5 or a half means play it a half time as loud or twice as soft. So let's set this at 1.5 and click play. So now it's a bit louder and more clear to hear. So if I would like to play this sound faster, we have to change the time function. So what we will do is we will make sure that we add a space and then we type time with another open and closing parentheses, and in the time function we can give an argument for the timing interval. So for now I'll just type 1 divided by 4 or a quarter, and we can listen to what this does to the sound. So as you can hear, the sound now plays 4 times as fast. The 1/4 basically means we want to divide one bar or one measure into 4 equal segments. So if we want to divide this bar even further, we can say divide 1/8. And we can go as far as we want. But let's go back to a quarter note to keep it a bit more simple. So if we would like to add an extra sound to this rhythm that we are creating, we can just hit the return key or the enter key and start typing on a new line. So we can start with new sample, and then we find another sound that we would like to add. For example, if we want to add the head 909 open, we can copy that and we can paste it in here. And now if we click play, we will hear the head and we will hear the kick. What you will notice is that because we haven't defined the time for the hi-hat, it will automatically default to once per bar. So we will now hear 4 kicks because we divided the bar into 4 for the kick, but we will only hear 1 hi-hat because we haven't decided any timing interval yet. But we can do that by clicking spacebar and starting to type time. And for example, we say time 1/8. So now we hear the kick 4 times per bar, but we hear the hi-hat 8 times. We can make the rhythm a bit more complex by, for example, saying divide the bar into 6. And if we want to change the volume levels a little bit between the kick and the hi-hat, we can of course also change the volume for the hi-hat. So maybe I want the hi-hat to be a bit softer. Then we can do it like this. Now we can keep on adding sounds as much as we like. For example, I would like to add a snare drum to complete this drum beat. So we can say new sample space and then search a snare drum sound. For example, maybe this snare dub. So I'll type snare underscore dub. And I would like to play that twice per measure. Now, as you can see above the editor, there is the tempo. And the tempo is now currently set at 99 beats per minute. And we can change the tempo to make this entire beat play faster or slower. We can change the tempo by typing set space tempo space, and then we type the value that we would like the tempo to be at. So for example, if I want this beat to be faster, I would type something like 130 beats per minute, and then I'll hit play. Or if I would like the tempo to be slower, I could type, for example, 80 beats per minute, and then hit play. Now I would like to take a step back to just the kick and the hi-hat, and I will set the hi-hat a bit louder so we can hear the kick and the hi-hat quite well. I would like to introduce an extra argument to the time function, because if I set both of the instruments at a quarter note, so 1/4, and I hit play, now we will hear the kick and the hi-hat at the same time. But what if I would like the hi-hat to play in between the kick, so that they would each play 4 times per bar, but one plays a bit later than the other? For that we can add an offset, and we do that by hitting space and adding the offset as a value we would like. So for example, if I add an offset of 1/8, we will hear the hi-hat play in between the kick. So what happens is, because 1/8 is the half of a quarter, we will hear the sound play a half later than the quarter note of the kick. We can also say, for example, 1/6. And depending on the value that you choose, it gives a different feel to the rhythm that you're creating. There are some extra functions we can add to the sample to manipulate the timbre of the sound, or the color. For example, we can add the speed function. And speed in this case doesn't mean how fast it is playing rhythmically, but it means how fast it is been played back. So if I play this sound back twice as fast, the pitch will go up. Or if I play it back a half times as fast, the pitch will drop, so it will be in slow motion. And we can do the same thing for the kick and for the hi-hat. If we like to play a sound file that is quite long, for example a harp, we will hear that the sample will be cut off when it is re-triggered. If we like to play just a portion of the sound, we can create a shape around it. And the shape will give us a short fade in and fade out time, and then the sound will stop. For example, I can say fade in 5 milliseconds and fade out 100 milliseconds. So now we only hear a small portion of the sound. Or if we have the time a bit slower, we can create a fade in as well. So at the moment the sound always starts from the beginning of the sound file. But if we would like to play a different portion of the sound file, we can do that with the start function. So in the start function you can put in a value between 0 and 1, where 0 means start from the beginning and 1 means start from the end, which would not be very useful because then we wouldn't hear anything. But if we would say start from 0.1 position, then we would start at 10% of the sound file. So we would hear a different portion of the harp play at that point. And I'll put it back to 0 so you can hear the difference. let's put it at 0.2. So if we want to, we can copy this entire line from the harp and paste it below it, and then we can create some textures by combining the sounds and using different positions from the sample. Alright, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoy making some music with the samples in Mercury. In the next video we'll have a look at creating a synthesizer and playing some notes, so hopefully you'll tune in for that one as well. Bye!